Welcome back to the show. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of NFT News on Twitter. Let's catch up. This is where we talk about all the musings, everything new that's going on in the Twitter space. And believe me, there's always something new. Whether it's sorry about the noise, a lot of noise, a lot of people going around. Get this done in as much tranquility as possible. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen here real quick. Okay, so we're gonna quickly log into Twitter. And just like always, I read Twitter feed comments of my favorite people in the crypto and NFT space and on Twitter. What are they saying? What are they thinking? It's probably the best way to find out recent news. Twitter, in my opinion, rivals YouTube as with its reach and with just being able to tap into the market globally. It's probably the best way to get the lowdown before the mainstream media gets a wind of it. Because once it gets to the mainstream media, actually that's when you should be taking opposite action of whatever it is that they're asking you to do. You know, they say buy the rumor, sell the news. It's real. Basically, rumor will be on Twitter, and the news will be on I don't know, CoinDesk or Cointelegraph. Pick your whatever choice, whatever one's your favorite. But they all usually talk about the same thing. Well, they usually either like for real or they're probably just promoting or running ads. It's hard to tell what's a real project uh, versus promotions because they don't really identify even though they should. They should warn people ahead of time that they're promoting a project, for instance. But a lot of times, some of these pieces that you grab them when you read them, and it's easy to fall for the okie doke, you know. So I just go to the source. You know what we do is go to Richard, who's the co-founder of Manifold XYZ. He's got over 98,000 followers, and he would be one of the ones to read his feed to find out what's going on. Here, about an hour ago, he said, "Who would have thought that the idea of a token would have such impact on culture, art, technology, community, and finance? DAOs, NFTs, DeFi, Web 3.0, all concepts driven by tokens and all changing the world." You know, this idea of money is all an idea. It was passed down generation to generation. And here again, we're at one of those turning points in culture where using math and cryptography, we're coming up with a new way of exchanging value. This time, not in the physical world, but in the digital world, where everything's starting to move to. It just had to happen. The internet has matured up to a point where we needed a form of exchange, a token to represent value that's traded, shared, whatever have you, on the internet. And we have that. It started out with cryptocurrency, and now we're NFTs. And what NFTs do is just gives property rights to digital assets. So you can trade them and you can get royalty in perpetuity. So let's see what people have to say about that comment that he had, which I thought it was interesting considering he's right. And here Matt Feinberg says, "Have you seen this yet from Foxy Fam NFT? OMG. I'm a millionaire because I purchased the funny image. Mom, this is already happening. That's from the Horseman Club. Red Van.E says gaming and more to come. We're only 10 years into the blockchain experiment and 6 years into the smart contract experiment. Moving right along, the CryptoPunks are alive. Can't wait for all the innovation to come in 2022. All right, okay. One more. Ashu says, so true. The more we learn, the more we adapt, the better it gets. It's unreal. All right, I'm gonna just read the headlines. First, let's check on the prices. What's the prices looking like right now? So I usually would go to CoinGecko.com or CoinMarketCap.com to get an idea of how the market is performing. And here at CoinGecko.com, we can go over the top 10 cryptos currently, starting off with Bitcoin at $47,258, Ethereum $3,753. I'll move this out of the way. Sol is down to 466,000. Cardano is at $1.22. XRP 79 cents. Polkadot $24.96. Dogecoin is at 17 cents. Even after Elon tweeted yesterday that they were going to start selling merch that you could purchase with Dogecoin at Tesla. I thought that would pump the price a little bit, which it did. I think the price last time I checked as of yesterday went up to about 34 cents or so. But it's back down, well, about 20 something cents, but it's back down to 17 cents now. And, so the market is still generally red. Maybe we have hit the top again. Maybe 66,000 Bitcoin was the top again, and we're back down now. In my opinion, this is just another shakeout. This is normal in the cycle of this particular market. It's not abnormal to see this 30% pullbacks, especially when we have a run up like we just did a month ago. So, when I always advise that when you're getting into investing in an asset such as this, such as Bitcoin, it's an asset that you want to hold, at least midterm hold of 1 to 5 year term, at minimum 5 year term investment horizon. I wouldn't worry about price action and daily, weekly, monthly. That's just a waste of time, because this is an asset that has performed over 200% year over year. So it's something that you just want to purchase and stop looking at it. At least give it 5 years, and it's proven that it doesn't fail. So that's the market for you. Let's look at what CoinDesk has to say. Usually, if CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, these are some of the mainstream. I would consider mainstream. It's kind of funny for a space that's nascent like as this, to consider some of these players to be the mainstream, because most of them haven't even been around longer than 4 or 5 years. All right, so what are the headlines? Bitcoin's decline suggests Fed's hawkish policy shift is priced in. Ex-Marine and South Carolina politician raises $200 million to start Bitcoin mining. Smart man. NBA Top Shot maker, Dapper Labs. All right, just to go back on the Fed's hawkish policy shift, when I hear people like Elizabeth Warren just open her ignorant mind and speak on such an issue, she's not qualified to be speaking on it. So continue to push the idea that it's a criminal infested space, or the only reason why cryptocurrency exists is for criminal activity. Those are the tired tropes that we've heard over the years. And I believe that at some point, those kind of opinions will no longer be you just can't be of a sane mind and keep putting stuff like that out in the world anymore. Especially when it's a multi-trillion dollar space, or at least it's headed that way. There are a lot of major corporations that are already involved in this space. So for an elected official to come national on the national scene and speak negatively of it's either ignorant or there's a sinister agenda behind it. Either way, I don't care. I don't listen to her. She's irrelevant in this type of space. All right, so that's one of the news, or one of the headlines. Let's see what else is trending today. Ex-Marine, we've seen that one already. Ethereum Mixer Tornado launch, cash launches, major upgrade, V3 approaches, culture and entertainment. Why the marijuana industry needs crypto. This was written by Koja. Well, this is kind of self-explanatory. I don't even think you need to explain why the marijuana industry needs crypto, considering the lack of regular, clear regulatory pathway when it comes to the marijuana space. Having been in that space for a very short period of time, banking is still very difficult. There's just a handful of big players that are dominating the space, and everyone else has to play in the what I consider the black market, and it's not. And because of that, they've made it difficult well, first of all, to run a business without banking instruments is really difficult, and it can mean the death of your business. So, and then you also have big players like Medman and some of these other names that are out there that are just dominating. They're buying up everything they're buying up all their competition. So I would imagine that cryptocurrency will come in there if you know it's going to make it a lot easier to do business in this space. And the article was published on December 15th by Khurshid Koja. Starts off by saying, as organized mobs pillage or cash retail cannabis stores in a wave of violent robberies across the country, the leadership of the US Senate just refused to do something to stop it. If Congress won't help, it's time for the cannabis industry to help itself. Crypto offers legal cannabis businesses immediate alternatives to both an exclusionary banking system and the operating all cash businesses. We need to adopt them now. Over the 25 years, the state's legal cannabis industry has grown exponentially, but backing the proceeds of even a lawful cannabis business is still illegal under federal money laundering laws. This effectively excludes the industry and any businesses that serve it from accessing banking and financial services. That's exactly what I just said. I didn't even need to read the article to be able to predict what it was going to say, because this problem is real. With the government being a corporation that it is with, in Elon's words, they have a monopoly of violence. They can put out these, they can make it easy for big corporations that have lobbying power and the seats of power in the system of government to have the licenses to operate. But then you're gonna have smaller businesses or small business that even try to attempt to jump into the space. They just can't survive. So they can't survive for various reasons. One of the biggest ones is that there's no access to banking and financial services. And if you don't have banking and financial services, how do you do business? So you're either operate illegally or you have to operate with cash. And operating in cash puts you in a space where you're at risk of being robbed. And so the problem is it's really, really bad out there for the small kind of small businesses to operate. So while federal law remains unchanged, the big banks and their customers have a financial means to get federal regulators to look the other way on their otherwise willful violations of AML laws, but everyone else gets shut out. It's like the mafia, and nothing to see here. This is not surprising to me. I personally think that at some point, crypto is going to make these things efficient. We just a lot of the folks in this space have to we just have to bend the rules at some point. It's really that's why I got out of it, because it's murky waters. You know, it's very easy to step into regulatory mud while just trying to navigate running a small business, a small cannabis business. It doesn't matter what jurisdiction you're in, as long as you're under the Fed, if you're in the US, it's murky waters. All right, so we're just gonna move on and see what else is on the news today. Richard GM. What else do you have to say, my friend? Proud to have bought the Jimmy Wales, the founder of Wikipedia, into Web3 ecosystem, taught him NFTs, and he coded his very own smart contract to go along with his Christie's auction. That's just nice. That is just nice, Richard. All right, so apparently the founder of Wikipedia is now part of the Web3 ecosystem, thanks to Richard GM. He put out his first NFT here, and yeah, I'm gonna look at it real quick. All right, he had an auction, Jimmy Wells, around 1966. Current bid of $60,000, closing in 26 minutes. I'm not interested in that. So if you're interested in his NFT, it's still live. Actually, you can get in on it. All right, so thanks Richard for getting this guy involved. That's really cool. Wonder what else you guys talked about. That is true. Probably coming up with something. What he really needs to do is, if he's now part of the Web3 ecosystem, instead of constantly trying to raise money from users, he can tokenize that whole thing and make it such that contributors to the Wikipedia page can earn tokens, and holders of tokens can either stake them to earn, or they can trade them for stable coins. I think that we probably need to pay attention to Wikipedia, because I'm pretty sure they're going to be moving in that direction. And someone here, Silly Tuna, said, nice, really need to reg up with Manifold also. I don't know what that means, but I'm in. All right. Let's keep this moving. Let's see what else we got here. All right, so what does Maddie have to say today? DCL blogger. Let's hear from you, buddy. NFT obsessed. 6 hours ago, Maddie posted, most political leaders are extremely out of touch from what Web3 is enabling. Instead of regulating DeFi, utilize its efficiency. Instead of banning crypto, invite founders to build the next unicorn. Change will 100% happen. Best embrace it. Absolutely. I think he's referring to recent comments by Elizabeth Warren. And, I mean, at this point, it should be obvious, but for whatever reasons, these politicians, I don't know who they're talking to, who their constituents are, but they're just operating at a very outdated timeline. So Maddie is of the opinion that rather than trying to regulate DeFi, which is a completely futile effort, you should utilize its efficiency instead of trying to ban crypto like I think it's third inning. Or it's insane. Why this train is already moving. You can't ban it. Invite founders to build the next unicorn. Absolutely, there should be tax incentives to start building out and clean up the regulatory mess that has existed in Washington for a very long time. This is an opportunity to actually start rebuilding that. But you have these, you know, old heads that will change. So, but it's important that we all take this opportunity to keep learning and contributing to the space, and eventually it's going to we're going to carve out a piece of the pie. Once you contribute in whatever form, whether it's content creation or you're actually a coder and you're coding in the next unicorn, whichever space you find, position you find yourself in the space, just double down on it, because this is a very thriving industry. It's revolutionizing and it's changing everything. So it's an opportunity to get a piece of the pie for sure. Gingerbread 2021 replied by saying, I thought that a hard fork was a thing that once in a while happened in the crypto world, but political leaders use it all the time. Madness, for real. They fear it because they wouldn't be able to launder their money anymore. That was Dapper John that eat, which is right. Most crime has been committed with cash or with fiat money. But these politicians that come up and they come up with these crazy notions about crypto being crime haven without any proof, and they don't have to back up their claims, especially given that the blockchain is transparent, it's public, it's an open ledger. There's every transaction is visible. So it's it's damn near impossible to commit a crime unless you're operating in a privacy infrastructure like Monero. But if you've run transactions on any of these open ledgers, we can see them. So I want Elizabeth Warren to talk on, tell me, has she ever, you know, created a MetaMask wallet? Has she ever run a transaction on the has she ever minted an NFT? Like, what gives her the audacity to speak on these things? Bitboss NFT.eth said, posted a meme, says stablecoins pose risk to consumers and to our economy. They are propping up one of the shadiest parts of the crypto world, DeFi. Where, okay, you just posted the comment by Elizabeth Warren. But she's an idiot. Well, I don't like calling her an idiot because she's smart. She's a teacher, but she's very, very uninformed, misinformed in this space. All right, let's see what else Maddie had to say. He's currently buying an NFT wearable item from Sandbox, Decentraland, CryptoVoxels, etc. It's cool, but taking that item across all virtual worlds is what we need to be building, i.e. interoperability, or else it's the same boring silo design of buy our items, use our product, Web 2. He's right. Again, Web 2.0 is very siloed. Google is constantly trying to get us to buy their products, buy the same products that we already have in the Apple. At some point, these big companies have to work together because the consumers are the ones who are having to fork out these fork out money to buy these overpriced items multiple times over because they've got different brands on it. So the Web 3.0 that we're building has to be interoperable. You should be able to move items that you purchased on, say, the Wax blockchain to the Ethereum blockchain with ease. You should be able to mint an NFT on the Avalanche blockchain and also take it and use it in the Decentraland platform. And that's the only way this can go mainstream. And I think they're working on that. I'm starting to hear a lot of buzz. Interoperability is very necessary in this space. Maddie also said, we are 100% going to push interoperability to its limits. Our mindset is meta key should be usable in some shape or form across multiple Web 3.0 projects. I like this one because I'm an owner of MetaKey, the MetaKey NFT, and one of the reasons why I wanted to or I invested in that particular asset is because of Maddie. He's got his head right. And he has the reach, the influence as well. And just like you heard from him, he is forward thinking. He's holding the meta key should allow you to you should be able to use it in multiple chains. And he's working on that. He's pushing on it. And so I'm gonna leave a comment here, just encouraging him. Thanks. Thanks, bro. We need this. Yes, absolutely, because he does understand the pains that we have to go through when you're moving from chain to chain, and even trying to say, for instance, you're trying to even move an asset from a MetaMask, from the Ethereum network on MetaMask to say the Binance Smart Chain network on the same wallet, and it takes you. It's very difficult. It's not something anyone who's not tech savvy can easily do. And I don't think it's going to help for mainstream adoption if that continues in that direction. All right. And the Collector Chronicles reply by saying, you definitely have the right mindset, in my opinion, when the meta key lands. I agree with this one. We need the lands because with the lands, you can now rent them out. You can there's a lot you can do once we start getting to your purchase lands in the space. I'm looking forward to that as well. I really do like. Okay, so it says here, Mario posted, I know you've been on this from day one, Jen, respected, 100% happy. So this guy, Jen, has been working on, let's see, who's Jen? Jen is a research web DRL, so it works as a researcher. They're also going to start to notice that a lot of people are switching out their avatars or PFP with their, collectibles, which I find to be the movement now in terms of social proof or just group formations or group identity. For a lot of folks, a lot of Bored Ape owners are putting up their avatars or using their PFPs as avatars. And we're gonna now see that there's gonna be that move from, say, IG blue mark to which avatar do you have or which PFP do you have, and that determines your network. So there are a lot of people dragging their chairs around here at some point. All right, so Missed Cup E commented, I brought this up in a Twitter space. I think these developers are focused on building their own communities first before expanding to accepting others. I think the first metaverse should be inclusive from the start. We'll win them all. Yes. Yeah. Yes, and we'll need to be seamless. All right, so everyone kind of seems to be able to agree with him on that idea. Interoperability and governance are one of the two important properties needed in this space. So Temple Total that he commented, agreed. I'm working on creating platform-specific versions of each wearable. Eventually, I will bundle the purchases so when you buy one version, you get them all. and you can bring your loot with you wherever you go. Wagner Zutron that Eve commented, that's definitely the next trend. Someone will build a maybe ERC 1155 framework and become the standard of gaming industry, and games start implementing it. You know, if anyone's going to be able to pull this off, if anyone has the resources to be able to pull this off, it'll probably be EC, uh, Roblox, Nike, some of these big names. Apple, they've got the reach. Sony with all the brands that they have under the Sony space, Microsoft, they will be the ones to pull this off. Some of these new startups don't have the resources to create what, some of these features. That also makes me wonder if how many of them are going to be around, say, in the next 10 years, when the big guys or the big dogs step in the game. So, for instance, when Sony steps in the game and creates this, brings in some of their famed brands into the metaverse, what will these other startups be able to, will they have any room to fight? That's another thing. That's another way I'm thinking about it. So still very early, guys. Still very, very early. I was thinking the same thing. That's GJPEG.E. That's a funny one. I was thinking the same thing. If you can't even bring a sword from Sandbox to DCL, then it's just a pricier form of Roblox. I agree. All right, guys, it's starting to get real loud out here, so I'm going to wrap up this video. It's been a pleasure bringing you. It's been a pleasure bringing you today's news on NFT. I'm going to rejoin and share in the next, I would say within the next 6 hours, I'll be back again, and we'll see what else is trending in the space. And once again, I appreciate y'all joining. Please like and subscribe to like the video if you enjoy the content, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next time.